good to see you again. And I'm doing this little series for Vibe to help you guys to be able to change your state, be able to change the way you feel when you need to, when you want to. This is really important that we have these skills, right? Because our feelings come, and sometimes they're not the feelings that we want to feel, are they? And when feelings come and they're not the ones we want to feel, what are we going to do? So I'm talking about feelings in general in this little video, but anxiety in particular, because anxiety really is an epidemic, actually, amongst humans right now. And that's not because of any global pandemic. It really is mostly due to the way that we have changed as human beings, the way that we live now. So a human being now, compared to like in medieval times, for example, has to make more decisions in one day than that person had to make in their whole life. So our lives have become more complicated, and even in the last couple of decades, the last couple of generations, we can really see that. 2 generations ago, we didn't have to book our own holidays, we didn't have to do our own banking online, we didn't have to book our own insurance, we didn't have to deal with computers and phones and know how to use them. We did a lot less things, basically. So our lives have become absolutely jam-packed with activity, decision-making, and information. And what's happened is, to relax, when we want to relax, we also bombard ourselves with information, artificial light, sound, right? We stick on a video, a YouTube video, or we stick on the telly, or we watch a film, or we're on the internet. So we're bombarding ourselves with more information. So our brain actually finds all of that wildly overstimulating. It's the opposite of restful. So you can see that what's happening is we're getting stuck in a state of high alert, basically, a state of being overstimulated. And that's what's causing anxiety on the large part. So in the past, we used to have maybe a situation that made us afraid or overwhelmed, maybe once or twice a week, going back a couple of thousand years ago, and humans haven't changed that much since then. But now we're having situations that we find stressful like many, many times a day. So we're getting stuck in this state of high alert, this state of high stress, and we're normalizing there. So anxiety is really normal for humans right now, unfortunately. So we need to learn how to work with this feeling and other feelings too. So how are we relating to that anxiety? That's really important, how we relate to it. One of the things we kind of say when we're anxious is, I am anxious. We say that, I am anxious. And that's kind of a bit of a weird thing to say when you think about it. To say, I actually am anxious. To actually relate to yourself as anxiety. You don't become anxiety, right? So one thing that I very much encourage is to take a step back from that. When you find yourself feeling a strong feeling, instead of saying I am anxious or I am depressed or I am angry, we can say anger is arising, anxiety is arising in my mind, depression is arising in my mind. It just gives you like a degree of separation, a little bit of space from it. And then there's a few little steps we can take around those feelings. So one is just acknowledgement, just saying, okay, anxiety is arising, I'm acknowledging it. Now, it might sound a bit mad, but it's actually really important, because what's happening at the moment is we feel a bit anxious and then we panic. We feel anxious and we're like, no, I don't want to feel anxious. So we have this like layer of resistance, tension over the top of the anxiety, which doesn't help, doesn't make it better. So we can at least let go of that resistance around the anxiety by just acknowledging, okay, anxiety is arising in my mind. Second, we just accept. This might sound counterintuitive, it might sound like the opposite of what you actually want to do. But we actually just accept. The anxiety is there anyway, whether we accept it or not. So we acknowledge, okay, I've got some anxiety arising, I accept these feelings. Now it can be helpful at this point to think, where is that anxiety in your body? Where do you feel it? Give it a location, give it a colour. I know it sounds mad, but just give it a colour. So you might say, I have this black anxiety in my belly, right? And you just say, I accept right now that I have some black anxiety arising in my belly right now. Okay, I accept. When you do that, you are releasing the tension around that anxiety. So resisting it and wishing it wasn't there is not going to help, and it's not going to change anything. When you acknowledge and accept, and then just allow yourself to feel it, actually just become like a little bit curious, interested. Go, okay, anxiety, what does it feel like? Allow it a little bit. What actually happens is it moves through more quickly, because feelings are transient, right? Feelings change all the time. You can never get stuck in one feeling for the rest of your life. It's not possible. Or even for a whole day, if you notice. You can't stay in one feeling for the whole day. They change all the time. So they're going to change. When we allow these feelings a little bit more, when we acknowledge, accept, and feel them a little bit more, they move through more quickly. So I hope that's helpful, a little bit about feelings in general, anxiety in particular, and how to respond or relate to them in a way that can be helpful. Play around with them, and give us some feedback on what you find out. Thank you.